Being a young MP, a new MP, going to Kingston, which is not the easiest place, as you know, how are you going to approach representing us different from the way we've been represented for the last 50 years? How are you going to bring our important issue to Kingston in a way when we can get results? What can we expect different from you as our MP compared to the last two that we have had? Because if the last two were successful, you wouldn't be here right now. We need an MP where we come first. The community that you represent must trump the party. Are you promising us that you will be going there, if you are that fortunate, to fight for us and not to fill a seat in Parliament and your party side?
Good evening and welcome to this Negril Times special report. Tonight, we take you to the Boardwalk Shopping Village in Negril, where the Negril Chamber of Commerce hosted the final candidate forum for the hotly contested Western Westmoreland seat. The featured speaker, Jamaica Labour Party candidate Dr. Garfield James. And what started as a calm exchange of ideas turned into a frank and passionate discussion about something many residents feel deeply: rural neglect. Negril's business leaders, hotel operators, and residents gathered on Tuesday, eager to hear how Dr. Garfield James plans to represent them in Parliament, if elected. It was a direct challenge from Charela Inn's proprietor, Daniel Grizzle, a respected voice in Negril's tourism community. For decades, Mr. Grizzle has witnessed Negril and similar towns lag behind, a stagnation many residents attribute to the inaction of Kingston-based technocrats who operate in isolation from on-the-ground realities. His concern is that while politicians often speak eloquently, they consistently fail to produce tangible results for Jamaica's rural West.
Well, Mr. James, thank you for coming. Now, you have mentioned all the nice topics, you have pressed all the right buttons, similar to your competitor who was here a month ago. And it all sounds nice.
Mr. Grizzle told Dr. James that Negril has endured 50 years of poor political representation. He stated bluntly that the very need for Dr. James's candidacy is a reflection of the failure of past representatives, arguing that if the last two members of Parliament had delivered effective leadership, there would be no need for a new contender.
How are you going to bring our important issue to Kingston in a way when we can get results? What can we expect different from you as our MP compared to the last two that we have had? Because if the last two were successful, you wouldn't be here right now. But what I would like to ask you is, being a young MP, a new MP, going to Kingston, which is not the easiest place, as you know, how are you going to approach representing us different from the way we've been represented for the last 50 years? We don't want someone going there to support the political party that they belong to. We need an MP where we come first. The community that you represent must trump the party. Are you telling me that you, as Lambert has used another word, I won't bother with it, are more strong on this? Are you promising us that you will be going there, if you are that fortunate, to fight for us and not to fill a seat in Parliament and your party side?
Dr. James, who is counselor of the Sheffield Division and principal of the Little London High School, responded by pointing out that he had already committed to prioritizing Negril.
Okay, good question. The fact is, representation requires a SWOT analysis of any situation. putting the right proposal forward and ensuring that you push for results. Failure to do so, you're not going to see the results. And what it really speaks to is good representation or bad representation. So if the results are not coming in, it means that the type of representation that you voted for, you're not getting. And hence, you made mention of the two change. So I can't afford to fall in the same line. So the fact is that it is identifying what the challenges are, along with your team, such as the Chamber of Commerce here, and putting those challenges into the required proposals and ensuring that you put them forward and push for them to be addressed. Politics and representation is a process, okay? And a lot can be said when you're outside that process, but there are structures established that are utilized and should be utilized.
Mr. Grizzle's statements come amidst mounting frustration in Negril, a town which contributes millions in tourism revenue, yet continues to struggle with inadequate sewage infrastructure, deteriorating road networks, and sluggish development efforts, even as resort towns like Ocho Rios and Montego Bay benefit from substantial capital investments to enhance their tourism offerings.
Mr. James, are you willing to work with the Negril Chamber of Commerce to this event? You become the next member of Parliament.
It's not an ambiguous question. It's a good question, and I'll tell you why it's a good question. Oftentimes, when individuals seek power, especially in the political arena, a lot have been said and a lot can be said, but it has to be a case where individuals are sincere and genuine, and there has to be a trust factor where one believes in the representation being offered. And I'm saying to you, sir, you can believe in me. I am more than happy and willing to not only work with the chamber, but also be guided. If I sit and look at all the faces here, and when you combine the years of experience and expertise that exists, I as an individual does not possess that. So failure to listen to the people and to be guided by recommendation and suggestions, meaning that you are destined to fail. And definitely I would be more than happy to be working hand in hand with the chamber to ensure that we can improve and continue to build Negril.
Thank you, sir. Question number 2. Are you living in any of the 5 divisions you mentioned earlier on?
Yes, sir. I live in Sheffield division.
Thank you. I'm going to give the microphone to whoever is willing to ask the third question.
You mentioned the last guy that you kind of boasted. And to be honest, I am a floating voter. And when he first came, he gave all the arguments that, and I supported him 100%, but he was a letdown to me. What can you say to me to make me vote for him?
You want to vote for me?
Well, I didn't say what you gonna say to me.
Well,
Persuade me.
Well, I've said a lot, so I would want you to be specific. Tell me something that you want me to say to you.
The roads.
Yes.
Look at the roads in there. This is a tourist environment.
Yes, I know.
This is embarrassing.
I know the road itself. If I come here and say to you that the roads don't need attention, then I would have failed to do a proper evaluation. Definitely, there needs to be greater infrastructural work within the space as it relates to the road network, because there's more traffic, not only vehicular, but there's also pedestrian. So long-term, mid-term, there has to be a plan in place to look at the road network and to see how best it can be improved.
Hi, thank you, Mr. James, for coming to Negril. I think with all the questions, I think you can appreciate that Negril is very frustrated. We've been told time and time again about people dealing with the low-hanging fruits that Chairman has spoken about. And we hear about expansion with a new hotel in Paradise, another hotel in Green Island. We have been struggling here, even with infrastructure, water. We have Airbnb, small hotels, not knowing whether their guests are going to have water in the line, even on the main road. And we are subject to paying $50,000 for truck water just to have our businesses running. And what is your timeline if you are elected to deal with these low-hanging fruit that you see? Because time is not on our side. We've gone through many a person standing at that podium to saying they're going to help us do this. And the low-hanging fruit, as Chairman said, are almost on the ground, dry rotting. We need action. Because everybody has their monthly meetings, and again, we have to wait and wait and wait. So my question to you is, once you get elected, what is your timeline to represent Negril so that we can be aggressive to see action and not just be a bagamoth down here? Because we're suffering. When we have small, but big hotels, all included, in February will be overbooked, are running at 75% occupancy. That's a big problem. We're losing events to Ochi, which is now being classed as a new Negril because they have a new road. So we have to kind of, as Lambert was saying, we have to rethink about marketing, because how do we get people to come down here to spend money, even locals? People are questioning whether they should fly over because they have political issues in our own country about whether or not they're going to get back in. So, what is your actual timeline?
Okay. For any political representative, in my capacity as I speak, timeline for me would be within my first term, because I would have to come back to the electorate, right? So if I was to give an honest statement or make an honest statement on time, it would be within my first term. However, we must be mindful, and we have to understand that individuals have access to information, and you can sit here, and I make no apology for anybody who stand at a political platform or just make certain statements. Statements can be made, promises can be given, but it takes far more than that to achieve certain outcomes. And what I don't want to do is come to this meeting and insult anybody's intelligence to tell you, oh, okay, within a year I'm going to rehabilitate the entire road, or within a year I'm going to solve the water problem, etc. Some of these challenges that we're having are major challenges that requires the technical analysis, and it requires serious capital budgets. I know for a fact that it has been announced a number of times, but the reality of bringing in the water to alleviate some of the challenges here in Negril, a contract has been initiated for that over $200 million US, right? The same with, say, the beach park, for example. It has been made mention of over and over and over, and it's just basically coming to fruition, where a contract has been signed for it, the design has been approved, and at some point, work will begin on that. And we can go back to even the roundabout, which is a very low-hanging fruit in my opinion. And I know it has been made mention of over and over, and we're just at the point where it is being done. Could it have been done earlier? Yes, in my view, because the technical support and challenges that it poses is not to the extent where it could not have been done. So what it requires in that space is really the type of political representation and push that is required. But there are challenges that are facing this township that some can be addressed in very short term. So what I would want to do is categorize and have short-term, medium, and long-term objectives for the space. But the fact is, the area, Negril, is being affected by a number of issues. I've had a few persons traveling from the space who stayed here in Negril, and one of their main complaints is the fact that to get from the airport to here, when it reaches those things, it's really a bottleneck. It really is a turnout. And so, as a result of that, sometimes it can affect your return visitors because they don't want to go back to that art and live by that experience. And as a result of that, there's also a bypass being looked at for the town of Lucy. Can I now tell you that it will be done next year? I would be insulting your intelligence, but it is being looked at and will be done. Similar to the one in Montego Bay, there is currently a bypass in Montego Bay under construction, and it's doing very well. That will go around Longhill. There's also a bypass for Longhill. So there are some major capital projects coming, but we are waiting long enough. There are some more waiting to do. But in the meantime, what can be addressed in the short term must be addressed. And it takes the type of political honesty and push that is required to get across.
And residents are demanding more advocacy, more follow-through, more results. It's a campaign heating up in Western Westmoreland, but one where mutual respect and serious questions are shaping the dialogue. Will Garfield James be the new kind of MP Negril has been waiting for? Time and the voters will decide.